think a lot of people are frozen, but this is the time to act because you don't want to miss that opportunity.
Hello and welcome back to Change and the Market, your weekly look at the changing real estate market. I'm your host, Brian Chiligo. I'm joined once again by our resident real estate expert, Mr. Chris Masiello. Chris, how you doing this morning?
Hey, Brian. Good to be with you. Good to be with our community.
Fantastic. Let's get right into it, not waste anybody's time. What has changed over the last week in the real estate market?
Well, I thought we would start today and just kind of talk, maybe a little geek speak as it relates to housing. There's this thing called the Home Affordability Index that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and the National Association of Realtors have sponsored. And the Home Affordability Index says that they use a score of 100. So at a score of 100, the median income family can afford the median income priced house. And so like a year ago, the Home Affordability Index was about 100. It was like 101. Today it's a little bit south of that. It's like 95%, 95 points. And what that means though is that because interest rates have gone up, that home affordability has become, a little less affordable because of rates. So it makes sense. Interestingly though, and it's become a very steady drumbeat now. And I was looking at my notes from our last, few episodes, and I feel like we've covered this a lot. But what I also realized though is that it is a steady drumbeat. Is that we are now consistently seeing different type of mortgage products like 15-year mortgages and 5-year adjustable rate mortgages. I'll talk about that in a second. We're seeing them now consistently in the mid 5s, where a 30-year rate mortgage is low 6s. So, we're seeing affordability now start to come back into formation. And I read this article this morning in preparation that said, real estate gurus are saying it's time to get back into the market. And I just thought it was, kind of, clever the way they said that, because, you don't want to wait until it's like so obvious that you've missed the opportunity. And so, as rates start to go down, affordability will go up. That also means prices are going to go up. And so, we talked a little bit about that last week, but now you're really starting to see, consistently different mortgage products, available in the, in that 5% range, mid 5s.
So is it kind of rounding that into our second question, are you saying that those different mortgage products is something buyers should be looking to take advantage of right now?
Absolutely. So let's just talk about what an adjustable rate mortgage is. So a 30-year fixed mortgage is pretty easily defined, right? The interest rate is fixed for 30 years. Most people don't keep their homes for 30 years. I think the average now is 7. And
Wow.
And so one of the products that's out there that I was looking at is what they call a 5-1 ARM, which means it's fixed for 5 years. And that current rate today is like they call it just 5.5. And then it will make an adjustment. Now, the likelihood of rates staying where they are 5 years from now is pretty unlikely. The likelihood that you'd be able to refinance out of that ARM within 5 years, or you might sell your house, is more likely. So, and just kind of sidebar to this, adjustable rate mortgage products kind of got a bad rap during the 08 great housing recession. And they got a bad rap, one, because there were very low qualifying standards for borrowers. So, you had a lot of people that may have been credit challenged that got into mortgages that maybe they shouldn't have. But the adjustable rate mortgage got a bad rap because a lot of them were going out with 1 or 2 year teaser rates. So the rates were significantly lower only for 1 or 2 years. And then the rates, would shoot up. And that kind of created, credit shock to the borrower, right? So,
yeah.
If your mortgage goes up $400 or $500, a month, that's, for a lot of people, it's a lot of money. And so I would not be afraid to jump into the market now using a 3, 5, or 7 year, adjustable rate mortgage, because they're out there and they're going to be more prevalent. And I think that's the hedge that people have into the market today.
Fantastic. So kind of bouncing off of that, we're talking a lot about how things are changing all the time and how these moments in time change and how, in 5 years, things are going to be very different than they are today. So let's expand on that a little bit more. And our final question here is kind of taking that, the way the market is moving, how should we kind of face that in our day-to-day lives?
I always look at things as moments in time. And by its nature, a moment in time passes. And so, we don't, in any moment in time, we don't really want to drop into, fight, flight, or freeze, because you're missing the opportunity. And I think, where the market's kind of got this pause, I think a lot of people are frozen, but this is the time to act, because you don't want to miss that opportunity. And I think kind of understanding that, yes, we can have moments of time, and those moments will have specific conditions. How do we look beyond those specific conditions to what other conditions, might be coming next that might be, more advantageous to us? And one of my favorite quotes, and I forgot the gentleman at this point who authored it, but it's not mine, is that today's tomorrow is yesterday, and how many of those do you want to waste? And that, to me, is like moments in time. Understand that as you're passing through things, they're just moments in time, and don't let them freeze you.
Awesome. I think that's great advice and a good way to approach kind of where we're at right now. So anything else to add? Are we wrapping up for the week, Chris?
No, that's great. It's a wrap. And it's good to be with you and good to be with everybody in our community.
Fantastic. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Change and the Market. If you're enjoying our show, make sure you subscribe or follow us on whatever platform you're watching or listening to us, and join us back here next week for another episode of Change and the Market.